As muscles contract, there are four basic kinds of muscle contraction. There is an isometric contraction. So let's say you push your hands together and squeeze, that you're creating a muscle contraction, but the muscle stays the same length. That's called isometric. An isotonic contraction is when you apply force and you use the muscle, and the muscle changes its length. It goes out and it goes in. Within the isotonic group, there are two more groups, giving us the four. So isotonically, where the muscle changes length, there is a concentric contraction. So if I had a weight or a spring in my hand and I bend the elbow, the muscle fibers slide into each other and create the ball. We call that the muscle becomes concentric or concentrated. And then the opposite of that is when the muscle goes back and you release that contraction. That release, called eccentric, is a contraction. So you'll notice when I'm teaching and I tell you make sure the speed of the in and the out is the same, because I don't want you to just let go, because then you're throwing away half of the workout. That release, where the muscle is getting longer but you slow it down, makes the muscle super, super smart, springy, and it makes it educated, because remember, the muscle and the nerve and the joint and the bone are constantly talking to each other and the brain. And a lot of it is done behind the brain's back, gauging the speed and the amount of force that has to be exerted. The muscles and all of the nerves are the ones that really dictate that, but they're being told initially by the brain to do a certain thing. So a guy that does, or a person that does a lot of weightlifting at just a certain range and a certain speed, let's say all of a sudden there's something flying through the air and they inadvertently jump up and try to reach it, and they're not used to doing that kind of short, quick burst of speed. They can reach up and tear or damage their joint or their muscle, because biomechanically they have trained their muscles to be less intelligent or dumb, which we don't want to do, because we set ourselves up for injury and also for premature aging. And so it's important to understand that the real Pilates works with a resistance that also changes. So when you're using the equipment, if you pull on the spring, when you go out, it gets harder. Let's say it goes 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10, 20 pounds. And when it comes back in, changing the weight. Whereas the guy that's doing the weights, when he picks up that weight, even if you say, well, I'm only doing 2 pounds, that's okay. It's still 2 pounds no matter what you do with that weight, right? It's never gonna change the way working with a spring does, or in the mat. We change our relationship to gravity so that the resistance now changes. Seated doing something, standing doing something, on your stomach, on your back, on your side, you're changing the resistance and the leverage point. And so that becomes dynamically smart master's degree for your muscles. This is Pilates Master Nikki with smart muscles, and I'll see you real soon for another layer of real Pilates.